Today we carry on Beshvat. Already we gave a lecture mainly on to Kabbalah. Even though in Kodu Kabbalah it might be difficult for Israel to finish up completely the Hamas, but no doubt, any day that you kill another terrorist, another important personality for Hamas, definitely is important. Even though maybe we'll not be able to finish it completely, but definitely anything removing from this world more and more, even this, no doubt, as I said, that, sometimes complain, some army people said Israel will not be able, I will not be able. We every day have to do as much as we can. God will finish, like Amalek the same thing. It's written that the Jews will start and God will finish. No, God will finish also, hoping this will be. So this was the first lecture, I think important one, about the connection of the fruit with the 7 nations in Israel, the Canaanites and so on, and by eating fruits with blessing and so on, 7 kinds of 7 species of fruits also to do. Today I will want to bring for my book just now came out, and the book really contains 3 books: Chanukah, Beshvat, little bit of Tu B'Av, and Purim. All are connected. Just now we'll understand why. So I will read it part of the introduction of this book, which is very, very important to understand the idea Tu B'Shvat and fruits. So the new year for the fruit, there is in a sense or form of rectification of Adam's sin of eating from the tree of knowledge. So we mentioned there is opinion, so Rabbi Glazerson brings and others, that in fact the tree of knowledge contains all the 7 species. The question is, which kind of fruit had the main impact on man which brought him to sin? For example, according to opinion which says this was wheat. At that time the wheat was a tree, not like today. And this wheat was one of the 7 species. And there is also idea that the tree of knowledge, the fruits of it, was also wheat. Now, what wheat represents? Wheat makes people witty. Our rabbis tell us that a baby does not know to say father, son, only when he eats something for wheat. So, wheat has to do with wisdom, Very known idea. Vilna Gaon, in fact, one of Cizari says about the Haggadah Shel Pesach, that Chita, which is wheat, is 22. The gematria of 22 letters of the alphabet. The 22 of the alphabet is the basis of wisdom, as you can see in my books, Sofa and so on, which you can get in GlazersonBooks.com. So the idea is, according to the Adam HaRishon and his wife ate from the fruit which the main taste was wheat, and the fellows are clever, they have ideas to eat, and nevertheless they will control it, and so whatever the consideration was. But it was based on evil inclination, but it was the idea which caused it. Now, those who say that it was a fig represent lust, explanation 1, and those who say it was fig say no, because they really lust, desire to enjoy things. So, okay, because of this, they gave explanation to what suits them, but the main cause for the sinning was lust. Some say no, pomegranates, because they thought we are going to control our evil inclination. God will be very happy with us because they understood that it is an important thing to control the evil inclination, like we brought in the first lecture. So these concepts find expression during this time of the year in the eating of many different kinds of fruits, 7 species mainly, some say 15, right? And especially the 7 main species, as we said, for which the land of Israel is praised. We know, Eretz Chita v'Seorah, Gefen Tenah Rimon, Eretz, the Semen Udvash. Now you know that the blessing, according to the first fruit mentioned next to the word land. So, according to many opinions, as we mentioned, really, the tree of knowledge was just one of these 7 species. And according to others, the fruit from the tree tasted of all 7 species. He had tasted it, all this. And the main one really had the impact of man to sin. Eating fruits on the new year of trees in holiness and in a sense cleanses and purifies them from the fullness of serpent which has consummated them ever since Adam sinned. So really, we know this was consummated, similar to Tameh, yeah? We know many English words are taken for Hebrew. You can see in my book, very important book, Hebrew Source of Languages. You can get it in my site, Glazerson Books. Then, the restoration of these fruits to their original state is completed on the day of Torah was given, which also is the day when the first fruits were offered to God. This is the Bikurim. Bikurim Shavuot. Shavuot we got the Torah, and Shavuot we bring the fruits, to the temple. As I mentioned in the first lecture. So it's amazing that the connection with the Torah and fruits. So it means the day of getting the Torah is also the when the first fruits were offered to God. During the time when the temple stood, 2 loaves of leavened bread were brought on this day to be offered unto the Lord. Amazing, so clear connection. The offering of these loaves symbolized the rectification of Adam's sin, since the tree of knowledge is considered to have produced certain types of wheat. This is what I mentioned, that wheat represents wisdom, right? 22 letters of the alphabet, as we said, and definitely wisdom, the basis of Torah. Torah gives you a lot of wisdom. So this is the rectification of Adam's sin. So the leaven within the loaves represents the evil inclination, sublimated and humbled into accepting the holiness of Torah, and even aiding man in demonstrating his devotion to the Holy One. So we mentioned, right, like the matzah, we have our Secret of the Agoda, a lot about what the matzah represents, but one of the most important which matzah represents is humility, And this is the most important, really. This is one of the basis attributes, right, of man, which brings him to a very high level. Moses was the humblest of men. So, really, this is the idea of this brand representing also humility. This is the ultimate achievement in man's existence, for it is written, really, in scriptures, Lovdecha bechol dvarecha, and to serve him with your whole heart. The extra letter bet, lebavchem. Lebavchem is really, normally, libchem should be written, your heart. Was it lebavchem? Was there 2 hearts? So what is this extra letter bet? In the bet of Avchem, your heart, reminds us that we must dedicate both the good and the evil inclination of our hearts to the service of God, because we know there are two chambers in the heart, left and right. Right represents the right thing, and the left is definitely the things which have to do with materialism. The damage caused by Adam's sin of eating from the tree of knowledge is repaired on Tu Beshvat. Unbelievable. This is why Tu Beshvat is so important, you know. Oh, Hasidim used to make from this day all Seder and saying blessings and learning. So because this is the time of rectification of the sin of knowledge, the sin of the tree of knowledge, that up till Mashiach time, apparently we are suffering for this. So this is interesting that Rab Tzadok HaKohen, this is really one of the most important books on deep ideas. So he says that this idea is expressed by the letter Tzadik. Interesting, the letter Tzadik, which, as I mentioned, if you saw my book about the Zodiac, which is a very famous idea brought there in the Book of Formation of Abraham, that every month, every Zodiac was created with a letter. And if you read my book about the Zodiac, if not, it's just well reading it. You can get it in Amazon.com, in my site, GlazersonBooks.com. And what is written there about the month Aquarius, the month Shvat, this month. So it was created with the letter Tzadik. Tzadi, interesting. Tzadi is also righteous. It is a very famous verse which Solomon says, Tzadik ochel lesova nafsho. Righteous person eats for satisfaction, not too much, yeah? What we need. Tzadik ochel lesova nafsho, only to satisfy neshama, his soul. Man have to eat in order to exist, but not much more. So this is a month really that a man should control. Eating really for God. It means blessing and so on, which is important. Now it is very interesting. If you saw my book, Letters of Fire, I brought very interesting idea, I brought in many books, that every letter in the alphabet is normally built up of 2 letters, sometimes 3 letters, few 1 letter, like Yud. But Aleph, in fact, there are 2 letters, the same, but in fact, there are 3 times. It means you have the letter Vav, and the upper Yud and down Yud, together 26, but there are also 2 letters, Vav and Yud. Bet is Dalet and Vav. Okay, everyone has explanation why. So the Tzaddik, if you know how the Tzaddik look like, in fact, you cannot see so well in my book, but Tzaddik has like the letter Yud on top, right, Yud, and the letter on which it leans is Nun, Kmar Yud and Nun, yeah, Yud. Right on top of the Tzaddik, and Nun is the letter which connects it down to the line. Yud and Nun are letters which, in fact, it is quite known. The Yud is Chokhmah, wisdom, like the first letter of God. Nun represents understanding. Nun is 50, there are 50 gates of understanding. So basically, the Tzaddik, which simply means righteousness, is built up by wisdom and understanding. Amazing. And if you remember, I brought, also in Baba the Dogger, that the month of Shvat is the month of Israel, according to astrology, which Bnei Sachar brings. And the sign of the bucket drawing water represents the goal of Jews, to draw water of the Torah and to irrigate with the word, to teach the word, the wisdom of Torah, like the Bible code, the Torah code. So, many other things important. But this is really the goal of Jews, yeah? And this is what this month is. This is what the letter tzaddik was the righteousness. It is very famous verse in Psalm, Ba'amech kulam tzaddikim, all your people are righteous, Leolam yirshu eretz, then they will inherit the land. If not righteousness problem, like today. But again, they are called tzaddikim. So this month, the zodiac tzaddik, and tzaddik ochel, and righteous one eats. So what eating to do with the righteousness and so on, yeah? If a man eats with proper brocha, really, proper brocha, the beginning and the end, because if you eat a certain amount, so this is really had an impact on the world, you know. As we said, the Ari said that to get Israel to control Hamas and all the earth, you have to control this evil inclination from your heart. You know, sometimes it's difficult, but you should do as much as you can. So this is very interesting that the letter tzaddik really it presents wisdom and understanding, and this is rectification of the tree of knowledge according to the opinion that it was wheat. So all this is shown by the theme of the central holiday of this month, which is Tu Beshvat. The repentance and setting origin, which is really very important to know, yeah, that the month Tu Beshvat is really basically around this area. This is why we eat so many fruits. The repentance and setting a right of Adam's sin, according to our holy books, comes through the study of the oral Torah. For the oral law contains ample wisdom to appetite God's righteousness, to appease God's righteousness anger, as King Solomon indicates in Ecclesiastes, where there is more wisdom, there are more wrath. The connection of filling oneself with the waters of Torah, which is a sign, as we said, contains, came to expression in the history of the Jewish people. This is particularly true of the oral tradition. The main attributes of the oral tradition are symbolized in the letter of the month of the letter Tzad, as we said, which is really formed from combination the letter Yud and Nun. As we said, the Yud and the Nun also symbolize the essential unity of the written and oral tradition. Yeah, because the written one is like Chokhmah, and understanding is the oral. Yeah. So all this symbolizing wisdom and understanding. For the written Torah and the Nun symbolize understanding, stand for the oral Torah. It's very, very important also. Important months, studying, learning, teaching the world. You know, as it's written here, this should be light to the nation, not darkness to the nation, yeah. So the idea is really expanded more by Rabbi Tzadok HaKohen, who explained that the analogy between the Torah and water applies mainly to the oral Torah. He cites the verse, all you who thirst come to water, on which our sages explain that it refers to the Torah, which is compared to water. So, water, definitely, the water of the sea, of rivers, have depth, right? This is exactly referring understanding, right? On top you see beautiful sea, beautiful river, but don't forget that they are very deep, yeah, you will not be drowned, right? So the river, yeah, is compared to oral Torah, the sea, because the depth is really the main idea of the oral Torah. So it is interesting to note that the bucket, which is the sign of the zodiac of this month, symbolizes Israel, whom Israel drew water and gave the others, as this is a goal as God said to the Jews on Mount Sinai, you will be a kingdom of priests whose task is to teach. So Israel's essential purpose of creation is to serve God through the Torah, compared to water. Water is none other than the Torah, and especially the oral Torah, and in fact all the secrets of the Torah, right? And one example is the Bible code, Torah code. If you want to follow it properly, see the connection with it, and the location when it appears, even sometimes the Gematria, and so on. A lot of important teaching, many of them convinced Kabbalah, comes out. So, this is basically, as we said, the level of the tzaddik, the righteous person, is the natural level of Israel. This is written in Isaiah chapter 60, 21, and your nation is entirely righteous, they will inherit the land forever. So in order to get it, the land forever, yeah, and the full land, not pieces, yeah. It's only when you keep the full Torah, right? Very important, you see. As this was my first lecture. If you had patience to listen, the Ari says, controlling lust, all these things, is controlling the nations which are connected with this, yeah. The bucket of water is a sign of Israel because its sole purpose is to draw water. Water is a symbol of Torah, as I said, and this indicates that Israel's essential purpose of creation is to serve God through teaching the word about Torah, wisdom. Okay, good, they are very wise Jews. A lot of them got Nobel Prize, you know. No, you know, it's a fact also, technically. It is the oral law that was revealed in Deuteronomy by Moses from the first day of Shvat. This was the time when Moses really told the Jewish people in the desert, Deuteronomy, which is really the beginning of the oral Torah. Because before, the 4 books are directly from God. Here also, Moses was involved, so this is exactly the idea of oral Torah. So this really oral Torah purifies man from defilement of Adam's sin. Yeah, learning Torah really properly with depth, and really, this is what purifies the brain, you know, the mind. So eating on Tu B'Shvat, which is revealed within the profound meaning of the Tu B'Shvat, the new year from fruit trees. The tree symbolizes the written Torah, and its fruit symbolizes the oral tradition, which draws its sustenance from the written Torah, just as a fruit draws sustenance from the tree. So in fact, it is so interesting, so important to understand all these ideas. So here we find it with a clear example of how the physical parallels the spiritual. Very interesting. Chidushei Harim says in his book about the part of Tu B'Shvat. According to the Chidushei Harim, the name Shvat is related to the word Shofet, judge, because during this month one receives divine judgment on the spiritual sustenance of the whole year, for the capacity of originally in understanding the oral tradition. Very interesting. So this is why, you know, Tu B'Shvat is called Rosh Hashanah Lailanot. Rosh Hashanah, the head of the Rosh Hashanah for the trees. But what it has to do with a human being, with man? This is exactly the idea, right? A man is compared to a tree, and as the tree blossoms beautifully from Shvat, this is the time, you know. Then the same thing, spiritually learning, studying also blossom from this month. The parallels, and it is interesting that we see just now about the fact that the 15th of Shvat is a New Year day, and foretells when the judgment on the quality and quantity of the next year's produce in divine order. This is what is written, very interesting. It's a little bit of Rosh Hashanah. The fact that this man is a source of inspiration for new ideas in the Torah may also explain the astrological prognostication that Aquarius are creative because of the principle that when the wellspring are open, they flow in two directions, to the spiritual wisdom of Torah and to the natural wisdom of Torah. In fact, the Zohar, very interesting, predicted that there would be great opening of the well springs of wisdom, continuing from the year in Hebrew 500, and this indicates to Noach was 600 years old and so on. There's a lot behind this, but this what the Zohar says, that on this year, which is 1840, wellspring of wisdom continue from up and down. Up is a spiritual thing, like we have Kabbalah developed very much on this year, Hasidus, and for the other side, also scientifically, the French Revolution, the French, in Hebrew it's called Industrial Revolution, yeah, right? Which uses a lot of a new invention. Also, it is interesting, I brought in my book about the zodiac, you can get it in GlazersonBooks.com or Amazon.com, and amazing Copernicus and Galileo were born on this month. Inventions, right? New things, new idea. So it's very, very important month, yeah? So, as I said, my book, yeah, has a title, Chanukah, Tu Beshvat, Tu B'Av and Purim. Yeah, this is a three. And if you put these names in internet, you can see when you can get my books. I think that you can get in quite few bookshops. So this is a book which unveils the mystical essence, exploring Chanukah, Tu B'Shvat, Purim, through Kabbalah and Hebrew letters. So as I said, the book just now came, and okay, it looks thin, but it's about 100 pages. And reading the back, I wrote exactly what is the idea of my books, you know. So in the realm of Jewish festivals, there exists a collection of sacred occasions that hold within them the potential to unlock the hidden depths of our soul. Tu B'Shvat, Tu B'Av, and Purim, three enchanting celebrations intricately woven into fabric of Jewish culture, history, and spirituality. These festivals, seemingly separate and distinct, come alive in their shared essence when viewed through the lens of Kabbalah and Hebrew letters. The mystical tapestry, exploring Tu B'Shvat, Tu B'Av, Purim, through Kabbalah and Hebrew letters, is an immersive journey into the heart of those extraordinary festivals, guided by the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah and the mystical power embedded within the Hebrew letters. This book invites you to embark on a transformative exploration in unearthing the profound teachings and spiritual significance that lie beneath the surface. So it is very important, because it is really unfortunate today that people really try to solve problems because of what they understand. And how can you, like a man, goes to the doctor, He tells him exactly what is wrong with him in the body and all these things. It's not so simple. So maybe without doctor, he thinks, oh, okay, I take an aspirin, fine, this is already the problem will be solved. That mistake. The same thing. And unfortunately, the situation today, when generals and also so arguments, this one thinks this is the right way, this is the right way, this is this way, this is this way. Unfortunately, see what is going. Unfortunately, terrible situation that people are perplexed. Yeah, what to do, how to get rid from Hamas, how to get rid from this terrorists, these wild beasts, Nazis. The Torah tells us so, the Tshuva and everything. So, one should know that like medicine, like the same in the world, you cannot understand the world without knowing atoms and all these things which is basically the essence of the world, atoms and all kind of energies and chemistry, so much under everything. You must know everything, not difficult, but some people will know. But this got Nobel Prizes, also quite Jews got it. So, as I said, interesting lecture, really. Also on the same idea that before the first one, we really emphasize the Ari, who compares the seven fruits, the seven nations to the seven spheres, and important teaching which we learn from this. This is the second lecture which more wanted to show you what is this book about. And as I said, if you put in the internet Chanukah, Tu Beshvat, Tu B'Av, Purim, so you will see you can get this book. This is also I'm doing to know where can I get my book. So important, very important, really, lecture about Tu B'Shvat.